There are two types of people that watch review videos. One is the person who already bought the motorcycle and they want buyer confirmation. They want to make sure they didn't buy a total piece of garbage. The second is, yes, you want to buy it, you want to check it out, but is it the right machine? Well, good news, it is. You can't go wrong with this bike. So here is the MT-03. I've been wanting to get my hands on one of these for a while, but the pandemic and the supply chain issues have gotten in the way. But I got one of the better looking ones. Yamaha really nailed the color scheme here. You have the bright wheels, which I think almost all motorcycles should have, and the flat gray is excellent. It really works with this bike. So this is a good looking bike. But there is one thing that is really dividing people, is how the face looks. Now this is kind of a love it or hate it type of thing, but you know what? The longer I've had this, the better it looks. So I do like it. I'm on board. Well done, Yamaha. I didn't think it looked good, but now that I've had it in person, I like it. So Yamaha's design here is great. So let's go through some quick specs. You've got your standard dash, but what I really like about it is the lettering is big. So you get some pretty good size digital numbers on there, so you know what gear you're in, you know your odometer, you know your speed, and you do need to know your speed because this thing is quick. It's 321 cc's, are pretty good at moving you from 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 pretty fast. Yamaha finally got on board with LED signals and the headlamp as well, and the tail light. So those old orange bubbles that Yamaha had are gone, thankfully, but it took them a while to get rid of those. It does come with Dunlop tires. These are the Sport Max GPR 300s. This is fairly standard now for these kind of bikes, and they're great tires. I've had them on the track with the Ninja 400, and you don't need another tire. It is definitely good enough to do everything that you need to do. The fuel tank is 14 liters or 3.7 gallons. That's good enough to get you 200 kilometers of very spirited riding or 300 kilometers of relaxed highway riding. So very, very fuel efficient, even if you're ripping around. This one also has some mods, so we'll go through that as well. Now this thing comes with a tail tidy, so you don't get this big massive thing that can look quite ugly. This is nice and clean. However, if you do this on rainy days, all that water is going to get kicked up onto your back. So I actually don't like these anymore. I never put them on my bikes because you just get too wet up the back and your back of your helmet. No good. The exhaust, so this thing's got a Kaufman exhaust, and there is the old one here, so much smaller. But you know what? That stock exhaust isn't that big either. Motorcycle companies love putting on oversized exhausts, so that's a nice size there. But let's see how this Kaufman exhaust sounds like. So not bad. It's not too loud. It's in the mid-range. So if you want a better looking pipe, a better sound, Kaufman, definitely a good way to go. And it's not obnoxious. It's got the frame sliders as well, which I think every bike should have those. You know, shit happens. You want that protection from it. These side mirrors are good. I've seen these on a couple bikes now, so I actually recommend them. It does clean up the look of the bike. Looks good. And the windscreen, every bike should have a windscreen just to clean the air that comes over you, making the ride a little more enjoyable so your head isn't bobbing around. It does come with ABS and a nice big disc brake up here, so stopping is no problem. On bigger bikes you will see another disc, but on smaller bikes it's just not needed. So good stopping power here, and you get the disc in the back, and ABS is back there as well. The suspension back here is adjustable, so you got 7 different options there. Now the suspension up here, no options to adjust it, but that's okay. This is your entry level bike. I do find the suspension is quite firm and it's good for that sporty feel, but not too rigid. So you won't get too sore riding this bike. So underneath the passenger seat is enough room for your insurance papers, and that's about it. Yamaha puts the toolkit right underneath the seat here, but does not make getting access to the battery easy at all. So you need to undo those bolts, and then you'll have 2 more underneath there just to get at the battery, which could be better. There's also the grip pads here, so these aren't bad if you're really leaning off the seat and you want to stick to the bike. It can be helpful if your pants are slippery. And the last thing I've noticed on here is the rad guard. Now, why would you need this? If a rock hits that radiator, it might damage it, cause it to leak coolant. Once it's leaking coolant, your ride's done. Your motorcycle can no longer cool itself. So these are good. I actually wish motorcycle companies would put rad guards on all their bikes. It just makes sense, and it can't be that expensive. So if you're a new rider or an experienced rider, this bike has a lot to offer. Yamaha's 321cc engine is tried, tested, and true. It's been out there for many years. No need to change it. It works. It's powerful. It's light. It'll get you around town, no problem. So if you can find a deal on one of these, go for it. If you can get over the looks of this face, go for it. But it does grow on you. It is a good-looking bike after a couple of days. So like the video, subscribe, and watch some more. Thanks very much.